I also just want to say, Jen had a great idea, you know, being as Jen was the first at the gravy in this video, you know what I'm saying? Jen said, maybe you should make this a contest, like whoever comments first, you give them a mention in the beginning of the next video. So I'm just wondering, who's going to be a mention in the very next video? Because Jen gets this one, who's going to be the first for the next one? You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and smack a like and comment below. Let's get into the video, guys. How's it, Yang and dudes? My name is Sean. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. The Karens are going to come try to speak to my manager, you know what I'm saying? How's it hanging, dudes and dudettes? You'll have to smack a little extra gravy on this one because my voice is a little hoarse. I think I'm coming out with the cold, but that doesn't mean we don't stay ever vigilant, because time has made me come back to work today on YouTube, because Padgett uploaded a video about time smearing Andrew Yang based off the Bloomberg article that we covered yesterday, right here, okay? And it was a hit piece, and Bloomberg tries to insinuate that Yang, Bloomberg News is trying to insinuate that Yang is going to spread his supporters far and wide, not for himself, okay? So Andrew Yang considers who his supporters will back if he's not viable. Okay, now, just to sum it all up, because it's pretty much the same thing they echoing from the Bloomberg article. They try to say, imagine, he said, my team will sort out what the heck is being conveyed, and then they'll sit me down, he said, adding that even without guidance, many of his supporters would naturally head to Bernie. I think that Bernie and I do have a lot of overlap in support, he said, so it wouldn't be surprising to me if any of our supporters head in that direction. Okay, so I don't know where these quotes are coming from. They don't ever link to any of these quotes. They didn't link to any of these quotes on Bloomberg. They put a video up on the Bloomberg website that did not have anything to do with that, and then they reference a roundtable, and in this video we show that there was nothing said in that roundtable. And now, towards here at the bottom, it says, at Wednesday morning breakfast event, which was hosted by Bloomberg News, imagine that, Yang parried with the reporters and handed out copies of his book. It's unclear what the future of his campaign is, but he's enjoying the attention while it lasts. He's trying to smear Andrew Yang as if Andrew Yang is just on a book tour. He's just trying to sell his book. No, the reason why he's selling his book is because it is the core issues that he's running on. People want to know more about that. Here's the book. He's given a lot of the books for free. It's online. It's not like he's profiting a great deal on this. The only time his books ever went, you know, out of stock on Amazon was whenever he had one of the most best debate performances. So it's so disingenuous. And then we have people like, you know, The Hill kind of just taking this bait and adding and just pretty much saying that Yang, Tulsi, and Sanders alliance would be really great, and that Yang would blah, 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 would give all of his supporters to Sanders in the first Iowa caucus. And, you know, you can just see the comments. It was just like, Chappelle isn't even canceled. He just got a Lifetime Achievement Award. Who is that guy? Don't invite him back on. He's clearly clueless, talking about the guy who's pretty much insinuating all of this. It says, Stephen Kopp has something special with his amount of establishment bias coming off of him. I trust Joe Biden when he says vote for someone else. Somebody said, I watched the interview and didn't hear Yang say that. Chappelle wasn't canceled. He definitely walked out on his own. It's sad, man. It's sad. And people haven't really caught on to this one too much because they do a lot of a better job of not slanting it against Yang compared to this video right here. Chappelle versus Don Lemon. Doesn't even feature Don Lemon or Chappelle in the thumbnail. It's got 138K views, one of their top videos in the last day, and then it started getting ratioed. People started disliking it like crazy, and then, you know, they try to bury it with all of these videos. Normally they do like 6 to 8 videos a day. This time they did 14, you know? So, and if you go to this video, and in this video, they take a clip of Dave Chappelle not saying anything about Don Lemon, and then saying it as if Dave Chappelle scorches Don Lemon's view at Andrew Yang event. It doesn't say nothing about that. And if you don't believe me, let's go ahead and just play the clip.
This particular election cycle, and I also like Andrew's pragmatism. You know, I don't look at Trump supporters as my enemy at all. I understand why people vote for Trump. I understand people are desperate. And I think that Andrew's right. You run against the reasons that Trump got elected. You know what I mean? I got friends on both sides of the political aisle. I got fans on both sides of the political aisle. A lot of people say professionally it's not wise to support any candidate, but this idea is so good that I think it should exist. And I think the fountainhead of many of the good ideas on the table this year are coming from a single source, Andrew Yang. And for some reason, no one's paying attention to this guy's the origin of a platform that really does address where I think the country needs to go. It's a good plan.
So what do you, Jim?
Now, where the fuck in that clip does he say anything about Don Lemon? Not a damn thing. So yes, it is clickbait by the Hill, and they're big enough to where they don't have to do these types of titles. Normally, channels my size do those types of titles, you know, to gain traction. It's just gross. And I'm not saying that they have to cover Yang even fairly. They can be completely biased towards Yang. But when you're covering it slanted, and you're trying to take one big media event and tie it to another that has nothing to do with it, just to not make it about Andrew Yang, you're going to have the Yang gang not very happy about that. And so they buried this video to stop it getting ratioed. And I liked it just so I can get that Bloomberg video in the recommended. So, you know. But, you know, it's sad, man. It really is. But for one thing is right. Why the hell is Dave's strings on this hoodie so long? But I do like that math pin. And yeah, people are they're not liking it too much in this. And look, the Hill using Yang a lot as clickbait lately, starting to annoy me. Clickbait title forces risers to sit through some condemnation of Rick Wilson. The guy on the right was rude. Don Lemon was laughing at Donald Trump joke, which is true. Guys like your content, but where exactly was Dave scorching Don's views in this segment? Come on, don't be one of the clickbaity YouTubers. Okay, so and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So people are taking this bait, and I don't understand why. So Time, you need to get your stuff right. You need to get your stuff right. Paget was tweeting at him with some blood. You know, so she's coming for blood, asking if they're scared. And oh god, it's just so disingenuous, man. It's so disingenuous. Really just. And on this video, there was one fanboy from the Hill, and you know, I don't want you guys comment on him or do nothing like that. It's stupid. But I do want to address his critiques here. So Lustwaffe comes up to me and says, "Hey, you know, I'd like to bring that Hill video I just referenced to your attention about Dave Chappelle scorching Don Lemon, which never happened." And this guy, Nathan Moon, says, "What the fuck are you talking about? The video is not about Yang, and when they show the clip of Chappelle, which is him in full endorsement of Yang, they even vocalize that he was an avid supporter of Yang. It sounds like you're really just upset 10% of the candidates is getting 10% of the talking time, so he didn't get a full segment. Just FYI, but this is not the way to support an underdog speaking unity." That's the projection. You're the one being toxic here, bro. But the thing is, it was a video about Yang. It was, but they didn't want to make it about Yang, so they slanted it and they clickbaited to make it something that's not. So, I said, no, I have to defend Lustwaffe here. They totally took two clips, one of Don and one of Chappelle, that made that the focus of the fake fight when the focus should have been on Yang's big endorsement, but they conflated two untied videos in an attempt to make it less about Yang and more about Don Lemon versus Dave when that never really happened. I would agree with you, but the fact that they had a panel on last week saying Chappelle's endorsement wasn't a big deal, so they seem to have a slant against Yang now when they didn't before. When 4 months ago, they would have been praising his endorsement in a dedicated video in all its own when Yang's search results were at their highest, which means whenever Yang would get them clicks, they're going to use his name. And when they don't want to cover Yang fairly, they're still going to use his name to get those clicks. As you've seen, that video was like 135K views. None of the other videos about with Bernie in the title or anything like that are that high. It's Yang. Yang's that high. They know Yang will bring the views, but they don't want to. They're obviously Bernie slanted, so they don't want to give Yang fair coverage. They want to underplay Dave Chappelle's endorsement, and that's what the clip was about. Dave Chappelle's endorsement, not about Don Lemon. So he replies with LMAO, lettuce, mayonnaise, and onions. That is a load of BS. The focus on the piece was to show the castigation of peoples with different views is not the way the Democratic nominee or supporters of one should carry on if they want to beat Trump. The piece wasn't about or never meant to be about Yang at all, so keep the entire endorsement by Dave rather than cutting that clip in half and just using the piece they were actually referencing to as a service. Did you get that? So actually it was super kind and not demeaning, but I get it. You think the camera should always be on Yang. First of all, that's not it. That's not it. I'm not even saying they have to be super kind. I'm not saying they were demeaning. But while Andrew Yang was at the highest search results because of the Dave Chappelle interview, They used that knowing people would click on it, thinking it would be about Dave Chappelle, but they actually made it about Don Lemon. So people clicked that thinking that he said something about Don Lemon in that interview about Andrew Yang, when it never happened. It never happened. So if you're going to use that clip, it should have just been about Andrew Yang, because that is the more newsworthy story instead of having to make something up. So I respond, no, you misunderstand. No one is saying that they are demeaning him or being unfair. If you take a 20-second clip from a huge media event like Chappelle endorsement of Yang and rephrase it to make it seem as if he is responding directly to Don Lemon, which he didn't, and that by default overshadows Yang's moment. And Yang's moment is far more newsworthy than a fake fight made up between Dave and Don. They mention the endorsement in passing on a few occasions, only to use Yang's moment to gain views while pivoting away from that moment as a central focus. It was just slanted, and they proved that by agreeing with that panel that showed distaste for Yang's big endorsement. No one is asking to have all cameras on Yang. We are simply saying don't use a clip from Yang's big moment to make it all about something that never happened. They used the searched clip from Yang that is trending to gain views while not focusing on Yang. Their tags reflect it as well. Every news outlet covering it are not trying to force a Don versus Dave narrative, because it never happened. Even anti-Yang media isn't doing that. If you are an ethical journalist, you would cover it as a story itself, and they are the only ones who pivot it to a different way entirely when they used to be Yang friendly. You would only do that if you have a slant, which they are allowed to have, but there's no use in defending something so obvious, because that did happen. Not only saying that they should, be shamed or anything like that, or even, allowed to cover things how they want to, but to mention it in passing while pivoting in a different direction entirely while using that clip to gain views because it's popular right now is a definition of a slant in coverage. And I say this as a fan of The Heel and have featured them on my channel favorably, extensively. Should have added favorably there. He said, either you're watching different clips or you just are seeing what you want to see. They did him a service. They don't have to cover Yang. No, they don't. But if you're going to cover Yang. Don't make it about something that didn't happen. P.S. If you want to pretend to be an honest news person, that is fine, but don't act like a corporate hack and then play the honest. What corporation am I hacking? Am I hacked for? What? Anyway, again, you have just hurt your candidate. No wonder, no matter how great he is, he's polling at 6%. He's just polled at 8 and 10%. What are you talking about? These people are just so uneducated. So anyway, there is obviously no use. This is the reason why Yang supporters won't go to Bernie, because people like this are just too toxic. We don't want no part of that. It says, I tell him, tell me where in that clip Dave Chappelle rips into Don Lemon with a direct comment. He doesn't. We just showed that. He doesn't. And they used Yang's clip to make a point that doesn't exist, and calling me names won't change that. So, and he says, I never say Dave rips into Don Lemon. Show me where I did. Well, let's see here. You clearly defend it, saying the piece was to show the castigation of peoples with different views and not the Democratic nominee or supporters of one should carry one if they want to be Trump. The piece wasn't about, never meant to be about Yang, as it also keeps the entire endorsement of Dave rather than cutting the clip in half and just using the piece that they were actually referencing to a service. See, what you don't understand, Mr. Nathaniel Moon, is that I'm not saying that you said that he's ripping it. I'm saying that Dave Chappelle ripping into Don Lemon never happened, and to use Yang's clip to make a fake point that never happened is disingenuous and slanted. It's just factual. It's just factual. So, I don't know. This guy's comments, he's obviously getting really mad because half his stuff's not even spelled right. So, so yeah, I don't know, guys. Don't bother me. I just wanted to use that to make my point, right? Because I did have a fully typed out point. So, that's all I got for you guys. If you guys want to support the channel, make sure, you check out Patreon, because Patreon is the lifeblood of this channel right now. And if you guys want to check some of these videos out, a half hour to an hour before they upload, come over here, hang out with Patreon. You know what I'm saying? We got some patrons on here. People are loving it. It's great stuff. So, we also have a Discord, a Twitter, some merch. All merch sales go directly to Andrew Yang, and it is what it is, guys. That's all I got for you. Watch out for Time Magazine, and people like The Heel are taking the bait, because I guess they're obviously slanted towards Bernie now. I don't know. It is what it is. So, appreciate you guys. Stay vigilant. You know what I'm saying? Yang2020.com. Let's get that donation go, guys. Gang, gang.